At first glance, New York City is not a place filled with nature. That is, unless you know where to look. No one knows this better than Denis Hroshek, president of the Brooklyn Bird Club. He leads the city's oldest bird organization, which currently has over 300 active members.
This isn't a cold, dead place. New York City is alive. It's alive with nature. It's one of the most magical places for birds and for birding.
That magic is also known as the Central Park effect. The scarcity of natural habitat here makes New York City parks funnels for a huge variety of birds as they travel up and down the Atlantic Flyway. This natural highway stretches from the tropical areas of South America towards Greenland. It is used annually by millions of migrating birds, both common and exotic. Here, on Coney Island, the gulls have already made their journey for the winter and will stay on the beach until spring. Just a few miles away in Greenwood Cemetery, you can find dozens of monk parakeets nesting in the Gothic-style entrance gates. These, along with other species, draw birders like Kathy Willens to the park.
Certain birds, by their color usually for me, sparked my interest. Like I was hiking in Maine, and I remember there weren't very many leaves on the trees, and I looked up and there was this brilliant red bird with black wings, and I didn't know what it was. It was a scarlet tanager, and that was like a spark bird for me.
Kathy is a photographer for Associated Press and has been birding since the early 90s. She says the way people identify species is very different today.
There's one change I would mention is technology. I basically now use apps instead of my books. I use my books at home, but I don't carry my birding books with me to help me ID the birds that I see.
Along with changes in technology, there are more people taking an interest in the hobby. Since the pandemic began in March, the Brooklyn Bird Club has grown by 30%. Michelle Truong is one of the newcomers.
I, for one, forget that there is even a pandemic happening sometimes when I'm outside and like looking at, like 5 new species within 2 minutes. I think there's a lot of sense of wonder that comes with learning about birds.
However, there are not as many birds in parks today as there were once. The total population of birds in North America has decreased by almost a third in the last 50 years. For organizations like the Brooklyn Bird Club, conservation efforts are crucial. With the help of new members, in October, the Brooklyn Bird Club raised nearly $10,000 to install bird-safe glass on several buildings in the Jamaica Bay Wildlife Refuge.
The best way to look at it is these are all of our birds, not our birds. So they're passing through here now, but every step along the way is important. The wintering grounds are important. The nesting grounds are important. And so we try to offer them help along all those steps of the way financially where we can.
But along with the conservation efforts, there is a real benefit for the people who love this hobby.
Somebody asked me a few days ago, what's your proudest achievement so far as the bird president? Is it this money you raise or getting this bill passed or whatever? And I said, it's really when somebody takes me aside and says to me, before I found birding, I had no reason to get up in the morning. I'm retired. Now I have some direction, somewhere to focus my life. So, it goes both ways. We're protecting the birds, but they're saving our lives too at the same time.
While the pandemic may have brought more people to birding, the hope is that this community will continue to grow beyond it. New Yorkers may have more in common with this natural phenomenon than they think.
They just keep chugging along and they continue to migrate even though I'm sure their landscape changes. And they're just really resilient. I think there's something that's really neat to know that whatever I'm going through, I can just think of all the birds in the world that are sleeping and then they're gonna wake up and they're just gonna keep going.